morning, everybody. This is probably the worst shape for a building you could imagine. And so we have a minimal facade on the front, but the maximized facades on the east and west. That's why you see all those perforated screens. Because not only we're letting in the light, but we're sort of modulating that light down to 40% to keep the ESD score.
You've got a 6-star rating, which is the highest rating you can get. But it's interesting, there are certain things in here as we go around you could probably do a little bit differently if we were doing it again, but there's other things that were done on this building that weren't part of any rating system back then, but have now become part of today's rating tools. A lot of the things about public consultation, the social sustainability aspects, things like First Nations inclusion, which back then would have been probably limited just to buildings like this. Now it's part of the standard rating tool for any type of building. As we go around, we can point out some of the features that make up that rating. There are a lot of them. A lot of them are sort of hidden, but there's some you can see much more visibly, like recycled brickwork. As Alex mentioned, a huge amount of work that went on to trying to make this building energy efficient, because you'll obviously be able to see all the public gardens upstairs. They've got recycled or rainwater being used in them. Rainwater flushes all the toilets. There's bicycle parking out the back. A lot of effort went in to have environmental credentials for a lot of the furniture, the chairs and so on.
Having an ESD consultant do the vetting of your material selection and sort of running in parallel with the design process actually made it really easy for us. So it wasn't really like we had to jump through a lot of hurdles. Now, one of the things that people point out to me is that the quality of air, and it's something I'm really sensitive to, is the quality of air and the level of oxygen in the space is really good in this library. That's to do with the pressurized air system that they run. It suggested itself as a solution, and it also sort of did some heavy lifting with getting points on efficiency. If you think of it as a balloon, this space is actually sort of a balloon that they're piping fresh air into. Basically, there are two trenches that run, and the air is piped in at the top of these columns.
One thing that's got a bit more focus on it now than possibly when this building was constructed is the idea of embodied carbon. So obviously we know about carbon when you're running electricity, energy, gas, whatever it is through the building, but every material that goes in here has a carbon footprint as well, and there's a lot more focus on that kind of thing now than there was in the past.
All right, we'll take you up through the nose, which is the stair, and up to level 1 of the library. Level 1 is, as you can see, it's light on collection but high on study areas. All the timber benches that you saw you walk past is recycled mesmate, which is a beautiful Australian timber. So the rooftop garden was designed as a space for people to inhabit. There was a theme to the garden. It's supposed to be majority kitchen associated, so it's to do with being a springboard for cross-generational discussions about cooking. Whether we use the mint, the rosemary, as soon as you know about it, you can talk about it, and it does actually, I think, contribute a value to the space.
A 10, 12 kilowatt solar panel system. It's a fantastic little oasis in this area, so it was fantastic to work on it and see the evolution.